Welcome to Xiao Voice. Continuing from the previous episode 185. Dense, crimson energy permeated the spacious room. The high temperature spread, causing this room to appear as though it was on fire. Hot air was steaming within it. Xiao Yan sat cross-legged on the bed. His body was just like a bottomless pit as it continuously absorbed the surrounding bright red energy into his body. Following the entrance of this bright red energy, his skin began to show a crimson color. Perspiration continuously surfaced on his face, followed its outline, and dripped down like flowing water. This was the first time that Xiao Yan had directly absorbed the energy within medicinal ingredients. During his previous trainings, he would blend or refine the medicinal ingredients and unleash the energy within the medicinal ingredients to their limits. However, he currently did not have sufficient time. The opportunity to break through would disappear in a flash. He did not know when it would appear again if he were to wait. Fortunately, Xiao Yan had the protection of the heavenly flame within his body. Although absorbing the crimson-colored energy would still result in waves of searing pain, it was not as though he was unable to withstand it. Fortunately, this also did not cause much harm to his body. Majestic, crimson energy poured into his body. After being refined, the energy was transformed into pure Do Qi and invaded Xiao Yan's veins. The Do Qi quickly flowed and brought about the feeling of being filled with energy. Xiao Yan focused his mind once again. Due to the increasing amount of energy entering his body, he was able to sense the signs of the breakthrough opportunity that had appeared earlier. Bang bang! An increasing amount of Do Qi gathered within Xiao Yan's veins. It emitted a low and deep roar like floodwaters. Each time the Do Qi traveled along a vein, it would cause Xiao Yan's soul to tremble. This kind of feeling caused one to be mesmerized. The bright red energy within the room began to emit waves of whistling sounds as the suction force, erupting from Xiao Yan's body, suddenly strengthened. The energy transformed into many substance-like Do Qi pillars that collided with Xiao Yan's body. After which, the energy would follow Xiao Yan's pores or breathing and invade his body. The crimson energy shuffled past his pores and skin. This kind of fiery hot feeling caused Xiao Yan to feel as though he had been thrown into a pot of chili sauce. Swish swish. In the face of this plundering by Xiao Yan, the crimson energy that permeated the room became paler. His aura had become mightier in the face of this swallowing. Hiss! When the last wave of crimson energy successfully entered Xiao Yan's nostrils, his slightly trembling body suddenly stiffened. He appeared to have transformed into a statue at this moment. He did not even make the slightest movement. The interior of the room suddenly descended into a strange silence. There was the vague sound of floodwater galloping present. If one were to follow the source of this noise, one would discover that this noise was coming from within Xiao Yan's body. While Xiao Yan remained as still as an old meditating monk, a vast and mighty aura was slowly being awakened, just like a waking lion. Outside of Xiao Yan's room was a quiet and serene courtyard. The courtyard was decorated with many flowers that would let out a faint fragrance when a breeze blew over. There was a stone pavilion located in the courtyard. At this moment, two beautiful figures were sitting in this stone pavilion. They sat peacefully and a chessboard was placed between the two of them. Occasionally, a clear, tick sound would appear when a chess piece landed on the board. TL. Note that the chess here refers to Go, Weiki. If Xiao Yan were to come out at this moment, he would definitely be shocked by this scene. These two ladies, who vaguely opposed each other from the moment they met, were quietly sitting down to play chess at this moment. It caused one to feel some disbelief. Little fairy Dr. Jia, I heard Xiao Yan Gege mention you back at the inner academy. He said that you are his best friend. Xuan'er's hand held a white jade chess piece. She gently placed it down. After which, she lifted her bright eyes, looked at the warm, alluring face across from her, and spoke with a smile. The little fairy doctor's delicate hand paused slightly while it was picking a chess piece from the chess box. Her eyes slightly rippled as she replied, he is also my best friend. Xuan'er smiled gently and asked with a voice as light as the wind, only a friend? The little fairy doctor slightly raised her eyes. She looked at this beautiful lady in front of her and smiled in a non-committal manner. How could she fail to hear the probing intention in Xuan'er's words? Although the other party was not a simple person, she herself was not an innocent person either. By being able to form a dictatorship like the poison sect within a place like the Chu Yun Empire, the little fairy doctor had to be quite scheming on top of merely possessing some strength. However, She did not like to display this side of her when she was beside Xiao Yan. Xuan'er's hand paused when she saw the little fairy doctor's noncommittal response where she neither agreed nor disagreed. Xuan'er's hand slightly trembled. Her pretty eyes revealed a deeper meaning as she looked at the little fairy doctor. She softly said, "I will be leaving soon and will have to trouble you to take care of Xiao Yan Gege in the future. As long as I am alive, nothing will happen to him." The little fairy doctor looked straight at Xuan'er. Her warm voice contained a needless to say tone. Xuan'er slightly nodded in the face of the little fairy doctor's reply. She gently stretched her lazy waist and immediately revealed an alluring yet delicate curve. She was just about to stand up when her eyebrows suddenly became vertical. After which, she raised her head and looked at the distant sky. The faint sound of rushing wind was wildly charging over from that spot. Swoosh! The little fairy doctor also turned her head when Xuan'er had sensed it. Her eyebrows were knit as she asked, "Is it the Ice River Valley? Or the Hall of Souls?" "No, they are the people from the Gu clan." Xuan'er shook her head and replied, "It should be the Black Submerged Army. I can smell the unique scent of the four-winged single-horned beast." A slight ripple appeared within the space of the stone pavilion. Immediately, the black-clothed, old men flashed and appeared. They glanced at the distant sky before speaking. They should have received orders from the Gu clan. After all, the activity from the big battle a couple of days ago was a little too large. The other white-haired, old man nodded and agreed. "These fellows really follow me like shadows." Xuan'er shook her head. Her expression was somewhat displeased. "There's no choice. The Black Submerged Army is controlled by the Elders' Council of the Gu clan. Those old fellows, who will not die, desire that the young miss remain in the Gu realm forever." The black-clothed, old man coldly laughed. He appeared to dislike this so-called Elders' Council. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Over a dozen figures rushed down from the four-winged single-horned beasts. After which, they appeared in the air of the courtyard where Xuan'er was located. Their eyes swept over the courtyard and paused on Xuan'er. "The commander of the Black Submerged Army greets young miss." A fiery heat flashed across the eyes of the handsome, young man, wearing a purple-black robe, when his gaze paused on Xuan'er. He landed before cupping his hands together and respectfully greeting Xuan'er. Xuan'er's eyebrows were vertical. She demanded, "What are all of you here for?" "KK, the elders are worried this young miss might be hurt outside. Therefore, they ordered me to bring young miss back to the Gu realm." Ling Quan smiled at Xuan'er. After which, his eyes swept over the courtyard, but he did not find Xiao Yan's figure. His eyebrows were immediately knit. "There are the both of us protecting young miss. What could happen? Don't tell me that you, a young fellow, who is only a 5-star dozong after having just finished the de-altar baptism, can be relied on to protect young miss?" The white-haired, old man laughed. His tone was not the least bit courteous. His status in the Gu clan was not something that a young person like Ling Quan could compare with. Old Lin really knows how to joke. "This is an order from the elders, and I cannot reject it, can I?" Ling Quan cupped his hands together and spoke with a smile. He did not dare to slight this white-haired, old man. The white-haired, old man did not say anything more after seeing that Ling Quan had brought the matter of the elders forward. His eyes slid to Xuan'er and awaited for her decision. "Young miss, the elders are really anxious this time around. You have even exchanged blows with the Hall of Souls during this trip of yours. If they become aware of your identity and perversely do something, the Gu clan will turn into chaos. Therefore, the elders have already given a firm order this time around. If we fail to bring young miss back, the few of us will be punished when we return." Ling Quan looked at Xuan'er and spoke with a solemn voice. Xuan'er gently raised her eyebrows. She was already aware that if the matter of her exchanging blows with the Hall of Souls were to reach the Gu realm, the Gu clan would have immediately dispatched some people to fetch her back. However, she did not expect them to come this soon. Xuan'er mused for a moment. After which, she turned her eyes to the tightly shut room and said, "I will return after another 2 days." Ling Quan slightly frowned upon hearing this. After which, his eyes also looked to the room. A cold expression flashed across his eyes as he smiled and said, "It is rumored that the young master of that Xiao clan is also here, right? I wonder where he is? KK, it has also been a couple of years since I last saw him at the Jianan Academy." I wonder just what level he has currently reached. The expressions of Xuan Ur and the little fairy doctor in the stone pavilion slightly unhappy when they heard the vague ridicule within Ling Quan's words. Creak. While the two of them were conversing, the tightly shut door was slowly opened. A figure straightened his body and slowly walked out. At the same time, a faint laugh was emitted. It is actually the Commander Ling Quan from back then. KK, excuse me for having not been here to meet you. However, Commander Ling Quan has only reached the level of a 5-star Dozong despite having trained for so many years. This has really caused Xiao Yan some surprise. The smile on Ling Quan's face was slowly withdrawn. His expression immediately became dark and solemn. He stared at the young figure as the figure slowly walked out of the room. He did not expect the trash, which did not even have the qualification to speak in front of him before, would dare to coldly mock him. Did this person think that he could do anything with young Miss protecting him? The icy coldness within Ling Quan's eyes had become denser when Xiao Yan's figure finally stepped out. After which, he appeared in the courtyard. His face was covered with a brilliant smile. A majestic aura slowly spread out of Xiao Yan's body the moment he appeared. The gloomy-faced Ling Quan suddenly narrowed his eyes as this aura spread. Dozong?